Hey, today we're doing a service on a Toyota Camry 2007 model, and this one's got the U250E transmission in it. Now these ones have actually got a dipstick, so you can, if you've got a vacuum pump, you can actually suck the oil out, make it a little bit less messy when you take the pan off. Now they also have a drain plug, so you can just undo that and let the oil out. And you can see the angle of it, you're going to get most of it out anyway. A quick scrape around with the wire brush, and then we can take the pan off after you blow it out a little bit. Now to get better access to these bolts here, there's 2 or 3 that are pretty hard to get to. You've got to actually loosen the brackets on that subframe just so you can make that gap a little bit wider so you can get your little socket in there. Okay, we've undone these bolts. There's little plastic caps there that hold the bolts off, and you can see now I can get my fingers in there and get the swivel in there and get those bolts out. And you can see the filter there, looks like it hasn't been off ever. The bolts are all Loctited in. So 3 10mm bolts and the filter will drop down. Just be aware that there'll be like a little airlock there, so you'll get a surge of oil. You can also see where the solenoids are if you ever need to replace them. This one's just a straight service, there's no repairs or any problems with it. And you can see the pan, little magnets have done a good job there collecting all that fine metal. And that's why it's important to actually remove the pan to clean these and replace the filter, not to just take the drain plug out and do an oil change. Once those magnets become covered in that muck, they don't work anymore, so that stuff will get attracted to the solenoids and it can gum them up or short them out, do all sorts of things and create all sorts of problems. Now when you're putting a filter on, make sure, very important, that it's got the O-ring there. Sometimes that O-ring will get stuck in the valve body, so make sure you've only got one O-ring on it. And always good idea to just do a comparison check, just make sure everything looks similar or the same. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the filter screen's actually been sucked right up, hard up against the inside of the casing there. And that happens when you don't do a service on them regularly. What happens, that fine metal will block that filter element, and then it'll suck, or the pump's trying to suck the oil through, and sometimes you can actually do damage to the pump. It'll starve the pump of oil and cause damage. Quick comparison, you can see the new one hasn't got the filter element sucked up. Make sure you clean the pan rail as well, and if you're using a scraper, be very careful you don't do any damage to it, or you can create a bigger problem and a leak. And as per usual, we like to put the magnets up on these little ribs there, or ridges, and that way that magnet can work top and bottom instead of when it just sits flat on the pan. More surface area of the magnet working makes it more efficient. Alright, because you've had to take off all these brackets to get access to these bolts, just double and triple check that you've tightened everything up. Make sure you tighten these subframe bolts up really well, and also just clean any oil that might have dripped while you were doing the pan up and give it a blowout. We're putting some LV, low viscosity full synthetic fluid in this. Make sure you use the fluid that is recommended or its equivalent, and we're going to put about 3.5 litres in. With these vehicles, you get the vehicle at up to operating temperature and check the oil level with the motor running and hot. Anyway, I hope that's helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section under the video. Thank you for watching.